I'm the founder of Black Taxi. A lot of you guys know me already. We've been on our 15-year journey together with a lot of you. And there's some new faces. So for the ones that don't know me, Black Taxi has been around for a while. We've worked with some fabulous designers. We've worked with brands that have been right out of design school, very established now. They're like our babies. So that's been our journey. And now 15 years later, we feel like it's time to build a community, a family. All of the designers here, we've spoken to a lot of them. They go through the same journey. They have the same issues, whether it's what software package are you using, to should I add another production unit to this, to I have lean time, I'm not getting any orders. How do I maximize my production capacity? And there are people that do have answers because they figured it out. So I feel like if we just talk to each other, lean on each other, I think we can build that ecosystem to draw from one another, which is the point of the Black Taxi Commune. And this is Black Taxi Commune's first event. We've started with this panel. The topic of this panel is very close to my heart. We're talking about the struggles and the failures and the things that don't work. We've all seen there's enough Instagramming to know that what's working, who's opened a store where, who's done the New York Fashion Week. But what we're not hearing is how many times you fell, how many times you failed, and that's why we are here. I personally feel that obstacles is what adds to the adventure, and that's where all their stories come from. So we're going to talk about those stories, and I know there's some really honest confessions today. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to introduce my panel, although they hardly need an introduction. However, we have a name amongst us today that's been in this industry for over 3 decades now. Vikram Fadnis. This is his 35th year, guys. He's a storyteller, he's a choreographer, he's a filmmaker, he wears multiple hats. He's a director. He's directed 2 Marathi films. He's currently working on a Hindi feature film. So it's hard to there's so much awe right here on this table. That's him. Then we also have a creative duo that's Mayank Anand, Shraddha Nigam. They're partners in life and design. That's an achievement. They've begun their career in television, and they've launched. Post that, they've launched their label. It's rooted in sustainability. One of them's the soul of the brand. One of them's the structure of the brand, and together they're just magic. And with that, to tie in our panel together, we have Saugat Paul. His brilliant, bold prints, his silhouettes, his innovative designs, they're amazing. He has a brand called Soup. And his work, you've seen his work on runways, you've seen his work on wardrobes. His innovation it's par excellence. We'll hear from him. He's done the design school journey, so he'll have a lot to add for all the design students in the back. What I wanted to start with is when I called every one of these guys, they were extremely excited to be here for this topic in particular, which is what do we struggle with, where do we fail? So I want to start with hearing from you guys. Why is this topic, I'm playing the devil's advocate, why is this topic important to you? Why do you think we need to talk about it?
I think it's important that we all talk about this because fashion, for the most part, is portrayed as all glitz and glam. That's all we see. But the real struggles behind what actually happens is what we need to talk about. And nobody's really talking about this, right?
I'm so happy this exists, and I have a bone to pick with you. This should have happened when we were struggling, guys. What the hell, okay? So please pass it forward, whoever's in the audience. Can I see a show of hands of how many people actually have labels or are God help them, planning a label or something with clothing. Okay, we love you guys. No, please go ahead and do it. Yeah, okay, that's we just tone it down a bit, guys. Okay, so and I really think it's a very brave move, and it's I can't say it's right on time. It's very late, but having said that, I'm so glad this exists because we've huddled in so many exhibitions and wherever we've met, and we say, "What's happening with you? This is happening with me. What's going on?" Yeah, but this is a great initiative.
Uh, what I want to say is that failures are a part of daily process. It's not even like, it's going to happen tomorrow or day after. It's going to happen daily. Some products won't work. Some payments won't happen on time. So I think each one of us know who has a brand, who is trying to find a way out. So I think this is part of process. I'm sure a lot of other businesses are also facing the same. But fashion is such an intuitive process because it's a transition being between creative and then being commercial at the same time. So it's a marriage which has to be perfect. It's not like you are a trader, you pick up the best product, best deal, and you sell it off at a X amount of price. So you're creating a baby and making sure that it's ready for the world. So it's a journey, and I feel that it can be very consuming at times.
My take on this would be that I always feel that there has to be a down to see an up. Winter always turns to spring, and I always feel that every time you're on a low, the battles are stronger, you overcome it faster. There is more thought process to how to overcome this because you've already crossed one hurdle and now there are newer hurdles. So I feel to even achieve to solve these hurdles is a process on its own. And I feel fashion business is very inconsistent. It could be in terms of creativity, it could be in terms of production, in terms of money. It's a very inconsistent. To keep it consistent, you're always fighting. And I always say that, every fight comes with a lesson, and that lesson only takes you higher.
Yeah, I actually read something similar, which was, does the fear of falling keep you from rising? But we'll talk more about that because I agree with that. So I honestly love what I do. I meet fabulous creative minds, and we go from there. But there are so many mornings that I wake up and I do not want to do this because the struggles hold me back, and I say, "Mera ho gaya." But so my first question is to Sagat. Sagat, do you go through the similar thing? Do you go through a thing, and how do you get yourself out of it?
This is something we all face. I feel that it happens to me each and every day. Sometimes a product works, sometimes a print works, and suddenly 2 months later it doesn't work. So that is exactly what I want to tell, that it's so inconsistent. I mean, it's something you can't say, okay, now I've made a model, I'm going to work on it for the rest of the 5 years, build onto it. So fashion is so transitional. So sometimes, it has got so many dimensions to it. There are stores, there are online, there are so many avenues where one thing goes wrong, maybe it can have a cascading effect to the other things. If you do a bad PR, I think it can have a cascading effect to other things. So each and everything, and I feel that it's a tough journey for each one who is an entrepreneur. But once you have signed up for it, it's like you have signed up for a life like that. So I'm sure each one of us who have been here, we have had our set of struggles, and we are facing it every day, I feel. Yeah.
Okay, no, I completely agree. I wanted to butt and say, we've just like so many times just be holding our head and saying, oh my God, like why did we start this? Please remind me again. It's not easy.
I don't think like this only for the simple reason that I gave up being a doctor to do this. So I know what is at stake. So my entire family is in the medical profession, and I know what it took to be here. So every day is a fight to achieve more. I know I transitioned to write stories. I gave up costume in Indian films about 11 years ago. Salame Ishq was my last film, and I really thought that with this now limited time that I have, because I'm growing older, I just thought it was I wanted to tell stories not through my clothes but through screenplay. So I directed 2 films. So in my regional films, which were state award-winning films, which I'm making my debut as a Hindi film director. But I don't think like this because this is in their blood. They wake up every day and sometimes they say, why are we doing this? But they want to do this. For me, because I'd already got into fashion and I wanted to tell stories through cinema, I realized that I was a good storyteller. Both the films I've written, one is on multiple myeloma and one is on dementia. So they're both stories that I take to the world, which is not fashion based. So I want to tell stories as a filmmaker, but I want to continue doing costumes as a designer. So I'm enjoying both the sections.
Okay, so my question to you was going to be, and I think it's more appropriate now that you say that, because I'm going to refer back to the quote that I was talking about, which is your fear of falling, does that keep you from rising more? But also what I'm hearing is that you've actually overcome that. I've heard about your journey through having been a science student and having had to go through that obstacle to move to design. So do you think that fear of falling can be weaponized, or can we pivot that to make to have an outcome that's more success based? Because the fear is there. The fear is in all of us. I'm going to try this. I'm on this panel. I'm talking right now. I just told my aunt, I was like, if I freeze, please take over. But so the fear of falling is there. But if that fear of falling keeps me from doing this, there's no going anywhere. So do you have anything on that for everybody else here?
I just feel, and I've always believed that just because you're successful doesn't mean you can't fail. You have to put together the pieces that make you who you are. For me, I wake up every morning because I gave up something to do something, I better be good at it. I come from a very, very reputed medical background. My parents are doctors, and I have something to protect, which is years ago. So every day, I always believe, and I always tell my team, which is over here also, I always say that 1 million people would want to be in my shoes today. But remember one thing, if there's something who's more successful than you, don't look at somebody else's success, because you will never be happy. There's somebody who's less successful than you. It's all very relative. So every day I try to give in something that will increase my brand value, give me more happiness, give me what I'm looking for. 8 years ago, I did not know I wanted to even venture into filmmaking, tell stories. So every day, like I said, if you're falling, there is no fear. But every time I fall, every time I don't achieve something, every time I lose something, every time my targets are not met, or any time I'm trying to do something but I fail at it, I've stopped looking at it as a failure. I used to get bogged down by this thing that, this is something that I've not been able to do. But today it gives me the inner strength to say that if this has not happened, I'm going to if this door is shut, I'm going to open a window. I'm going to try and find out what else makes me happy, what else I can do. And this is how I started writing stories. Because I realized while being a technician behind the camera for so many years, for more than 28 years, as a costume designer in Indian films, I realized that sometimes we don't tap, or we don't want to know what else is within us. We just want to be comfortable and happy with what we see, what we get, we wake up, we go. It's very mundane, I don't do that. Every day I feel is exciting because I'm going to do something new, I'm going to indulge in something new, and that keeps me going. So it's not about this thing of failure. I've just become so hardened that I say, this is it? Okay, now what next? So that period of that, getting bogged down in failure, I've crossed that stage.
I would also add to this that I think one thing which is very important is you have to fail faster. Make sure you fail faster and don't just linger into it, just move on. Take the next step, whatever is needed. I feel we all kind of go through this process, but again, that is the metamorphosis of your brand, of your label, of a human being. I feel like each time you fail, you make a better product or anything for that matter. I mean, filmmaking to anything creative. Each one of us, I think he left being a doctor and he came here. I personally left a computer engineering college and joined NIFT. I think they have left a lucrative in industry, cinema industry, when people would love to be in their shoes. And they did it because just out of passion of the craft, I feel they needed to show the world what they like, the kind of products they would like to wear, and I mean they would love to show everyone the kind of products they love to sell as well. So I feel each one of us is very passionate. I think passion can drive you, but at the same time, few things I just said that. Fear of falling is always there, but again, as an entrepreneur, you have to have a appetite for risk. I feel that's always there.
Guys, if you have any questions mid conversation, we'd love to take them. We'd love to hear from you on whatever we are discussing. We don't want this to be one direction at any point. So let us know if you guys have any questions, anything you want to say.
So, hi. In terms of timeline for someone who's just started out their brand, like say a year or two, into the journey, at what point do you see that like that pivot happen where you went from like the tipping point, like they say, like from being like not known to too many to like now being like a household name for that matter? Yeah.
So there is no tipping point. There never will be. All right. You might think that it's gonna take you 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. No, you're lying to yourself. It's going to take you forever. And it will still not come. Right? Not to, I mean, I'm not saying that to, for you to not do what you're doing. But do know that don't go by that. Don't go by when will the tipping point come. You keep doing what you're doing. You keep excelling at your craft. And when it happens, you won't even realize it. Right? So focus on that. Focus on your craft.
I have something to add. So this is personal to Mayank and Mayank and I. What happened is, what I thought we would reach in about 3 years when we entered fashion, it took us 7 years. Okay, it wasn't fun. There was a lot of struggle, and and we were passionate and we kept going, and all that is true. I mean, I really resonate with what Vikram said so brilliantly. I really resonate with that. And at the same time, one advice that I would like to give is if I did it again, what I would do differently now is I would really keep a very I would keep more attention, more budget for marketing and sales. Okay, because again, disclaimer, we're not that dumb, but so what happens is when you're an actor, right, you just show up, you do your craft, और marketing और sale तो हो जाता है, लोग पहुंच जाते हैं, picture ही हो जाती है, photo छप जाती है, and we're like, we didn't even know there's something to do in that direction. Now come, because you're the product, right? When you're acting, you're the product. Now suddenly, hey, this is my product, so it's not your face, it's a beautiful garment, and whatever is your product. So just paying so much more attention to sales and marketing can really cut your, and it's a very amazing time we live in, because there's Instagram and God even knows what not. I mean, there's so much out there. So please pay a lot of attention to selling and marketing. I mean, local markets, do not underestimate them. Like sometimes for some people their offering might be more suitable to a local market. You can literally open a shop and you can thrive. For some people, maybe online is where your game is. So I'm just saying, know your niche, know your market, know your placement. Don't underestimate anything. The world is really, really opening up to a lot of things. And I wish that part we had done differently, because it was, a lot of parts were not fun for us in that time.
Do you have a lot of money? Do you have a sugar daddy who has a lot of money?
That was the purpose of this.
Do you have an investor who will put money? Then it's going to take time. Bootstrapping will take time.
Listen,
And give it time. But if you can get a sugar daddy to pump in some, it'll happen faster.
No, I mean, we've done a doctorate in bootstrapping for what seemed endless amount of time. And I think we can speak from our journey and from our experience is, having a designated budget, because again, we all get excited about the passion and the craft and the creativity and the product. which doesn't take as much as the other end of it. And everybody who starts here, very few people really start with like, I mean, you are a creative, passionate person. Most of the people here that want to design, right? And we don't, हम लोग ज़्यादा तवज्जो नहीं देते, on the angle of how are we going to sell and market. We gave none. We had no idea. We had no idea, and we didn't have an idea that we did not have an idea. That's how much of a no idea we had, right? So what was I saying again? Brain fog happens. What was I saying? Okay, I think I'm done.
Question to follow up on that, Shraddha and Maya. Now, I have a kids' clothing label which turns 8 this year. My background is advertising. So, I've worked with like ad agencies before I had my children and So, I did advertising for 10 years, then pivot to, started a kids' clothing label when my children were younger, and now in August it turns 8. Exactly what you're saying, Shraddha. I have done ads, I've done everything. Now after like 7 years in, and we're now at a 25,000 organic audience with like some influencer marketing, some ad sales. But Instagram also, I feel, is by the time you figure reels, it's changed to something else. You figure something else, it's changed to something else. Like do more lives, put yourself out there. Now, even for somebody like me, I would not say I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. But it's a very different game when you have to put yourself out as a face of a brand and talk about your holiday, talk about what you're wearing, which is not like what I want to do. I'm making nice clothes, go buy them. So I want to say that, like even ad sales, like you said, unless you have a sugar daddy. Like I hired an agency last year because, I've also realized that, it's changing every single day. So there's like, things I knew which have now changed, which are redundant as an advertising person as well. So you get an agency on board and most of them fleece you. To be very honest, unless you're going with like top notch, they will say, okay, you give me 15,000 today. After 3 days, again, you put 20,000. Usme ad sales tumhara finally converts to 3,000. So what do you have to say to that?
No, it's everyone's pain point. I mean, I want to meet the people who don't have this pain point. Maybe we'll take a class from them. But yeah, totally resonate with that. Yeah, I still catching up to Instagram personally. But yeah, so just a side note about sales and marketing. अगर आप एजेंसी भी हायर कर रहे हैं ना, एटलीस्ट मेरा ये मतलब तजुर्बा कहता है कि पहले खुद सीख लो. First because we've also burnt a lot of money, getting someone, and then you're like, oh God, what is the brand looking like? Oh my God, who put that post out? Those horror stories continue. So first, get a little grip about it yourself, and then I've seen the best or the cheapest or the most expensive. It's not about, it's about the right fit, about who does. But yeah, you're right. I don't have a direct answer to what you said because I don't know. Like he said, there's no formula to it. There's, and also just a word about investors, guys. It's a really good idea to, firstly to all the investors out there, भैया कहाँ हो आप, थोड़े और ब्रांडों की मदद कर दो, ये 2-4 कर लिए तो हो गया आपका काम यार. Really, they're doing a great job, please do more, okay? But yeah, I think it's a great idea to partner with somebody who can make business sense out of your business. And again, any single brand owners here, oh God, like you have so much respect from me. I don't even know. Firstly, kids label, kids, I think, not easy, but a great market. What are you talking? Great. Awesome. Sizing wise, right? Yeah.
I have couple of things to add on to this. Okay. See, we are very emotional about our ideas. Okay. Each one of us. हमने एक pencil भी बनाया तो यार इससे अच्छा pencil हो नहीं सकता है. ठीक है. That's how closed we are to ideas. Okay. But if you kind of categorically think about it, okay, so any brand or any product you're making, there are 3-4 avenues to it. One is the product, one is say finance, one is say marketing, and one is say storytelling. Okay, so each one of you align yourself and say, this is my USP. I am an amazing storyteller. So you build onto that. Make a fabulous Instagram page. For example, see, Alia and all, do they know baby products, but they are selling a 100 crore brand? Because that's a face. And there's a future. If you see in China and everyone, and they are just selling one product and they're making millions. So there's a huge transition which is happening. So we have to understand that there are 4 to 5 points to it. Either you're a fabulous creator, either you have a finance some sort of, either you're a fabulous digital marketing person, either you're a great storyteller. I think align them, and if you don't have anything, please don't get into business. It's very simple. Don't get into it. There'll be struggle every day. And a lot of people are stuck in this rut because they're emotional about it and stuff like that. I feel that each one of us, see, there was a time 20 years back people could survive, but we are in a thing, an idea you put on Google, 5 people have already done it. So we are at that information age where every possible thing has been already done. So I feel that, as I said, as I mentioned, it's just not about digital marketing. Each and everything. I mean, if you see, there are celebrities coming and making T-shirt brands, and they'll be more profitable than each one of us any given day. They'll be funded tomorrow because people like stories. I mean, he's already making movies. I think people love stories. I think there is. It's not, you're not selling a particular fabric. You're selling a story behind it. I mean, Masaba, the day she landed, was born, the world were interested in her. She had a great story to start with. If she had made cakes, it would have been a multi-million business, whatever. I mean, whatever the X amount, people would have noticed it. So that's how great a storytelling works. I mean, am I a great storyteller? Maybe not. Maybe other person would be. But as I said, do I have a great finance? Maybe I have a great finance. Maybe someone else has this. So you build on to that. Or you have a power to work hard till 12 o'clock while nobody can. You say that I am going to put my 20 hours of work which nobody can. I have this power. And a lot of people do that and they kind of come ahead actually.
Vikram, I actually want you to add something to it because you've had a very long journey. We came from a time when Instagram wasn't there. There was a beauty of how has that shift and adaptability been for you?
I think when I started off, we were just 6 of us in the entire country. There was, in the entire country, there was no Instagram, there was no social media. We, no design. There was nothing called as a stylist. This word stylist has come now a few years ago. The designer was the stylist. We would cut our own garments, whether it was Western or Indian. Nobody went to Paris and London and outsourced clothes for actors. And the second thing I wanted to tell her was that Instagram does not define sales. Because if one particular artist has 75 million followers and if each one bought a ticket to go to the theater to watch that person's film, it would run in the theater for years. So it is only a following. It does not define your sale. It is how relevant you, everybody wants to be relevant. You have to decide in what. Till today, I can proudly say in so many years of my association with actors, actresses, I gave up doing costumes in films only 11 years ago. But you will not see a single photograph of mine that I put out. Not a single photograph of who I have dinner with or which flight I'm taking or where I'm going. I have no PR person. I have no PR person in 35 years. Except for an event which is a standalone event. I don't have somebody asking me today, where are you going, who are you meeting? Because that's me, that's Vikram Fadnis. What I do as a work does not define what sales I have and what defines me as a person and what defines me as a designer. So you can have great sales and be nowhere. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, I came from an era where there was Manish, there was Neeta Lulla, Rocky S, Anna Singh, Banu Ataya, me. And of course in Delhi there was Tarun and there was Rohit Bal. So we were, but they were not in cinema. But we were 6 in the city who did everything. And slowly it just evolved and it just ran. So I'm happy that I've been a part of a journey from just being, everything was so intimate. Every person who we styled and designed was about him or her and me. There was no third person, there was no makeup, hair consultations. Everything was decided in a vanity van. And that was the look, which are films like whatever films I did in so many years. Everything was between me and them. Today, if you want to really be relevant, they say social media is the key. You have to put yourself out over there. You have to market what you make. I can't make a lehenga, sit at home and say, oh, what a beautiful lehenga. I have to market it to the world. I have to sell it. So I agree that it's important, but it's not the be all and end all for me. I agree that in all businesses it's very important. Especially in a creative, when you launch a film, when you do fashion weeks, when you do shows, it's important. But I have not let it get the better of me. I have not wanted to put myself out over there saying, I am going to, place myself and position myself in such a way that it's going to help me in sales. I've never done it, and I don't think I'm that person who will do it in the future.
I think that's the only way to keep your sanity going is to keep your, it works for me, is my private life's mine, and my work life's just that. So I do the same thing, and it just keeps me sane. Otherwise, I'd be running behind something that, uh, I feel like I'd be sitting with my family, but I'd be like, okay, wait, guys, don't eat anything yet. I have to take a picture. So
In a way, you're chasing somebody else's dreams.
yes,
Those are not yours
yes,
to begin with.
yes, I completely agree. Mayank, I'm going to go to your question. So this was more from, so if I look back at my 10-year younger self and I told myself 10 years later you would have achieved this much, you'd be sitting at this panel with these amazing people, I would have just been amazed. I would have been like, wow, I'm going to be there. But now 10 years later, here I am. I am still amazed, guys, that I'm here. But, in terms of overall, I just feel like, okay, yeah, I'm here. But everything else that my idols or my, whatever I thought I wanted to reach has moved that much ahead. That moving goalpost is just constantly moving. And so even when I reached that point, I'm just like, I'm not just happy with what I've achieved, but I'm just like, whoa, oh, there's still more, there's still more. Do you have something like that? Do you deal with that?
Well, there's always going to be more. There's always going to be either the goalpost will move or the goal itself will move, right? So, 10 years ago, I was an actor. Then we started with men's shoes. We had a lot of money we made in acting and we said, jute banate hain. No idea, no business plan, nothing. जूते बनाने शुरू कर दिए, and then we realized men's जूते रखेगा कौन? There is no store that keeps that, right? Even today, there is no store that keeps men's footwear. Sizing issues. You can't alter a shoe, right? So these are things that we realized then. From losing all our money in shoes, a lot of money, we realized let's start doing avant-garde menswear. Very, very drapey, very, very interesting menswear we were doing. No man bought it. Women were buying it. So we realized, chalo, goal changed. Let's start women's wear, right? With zero money, zero marketing, zero business plan, zero sense of what we are doing. We started a women's wear label. Cut to, 7 years later, now we are doing interiors and architecture. So things keep changing, It's not that you've made a goal and the trajectory is never this. It just goes all over the place and you land somewhere, you pick yourself up, you go along the way you'll find yourself, along the way you'll make some mistakes, you'll make some money, you'll lose some money, you'll become famous, you won't become famous, you'll have a brand, you won't have a brand, but whatever you're doing, just have fun doing it. That's what it boils down to.
You said everything.
Guys, any questions? Anybody?
Hi. So I'm Preksha Mehta and I have a brand since 10 years. Big fan, Saugat and Vikram sir. So basically, I'm into fashion accessory brand and been working really hard to cope up with the marketing, with all the shosha that is happening on Instagram. I wanted to know a bit about influencer marketing over here because after having 45,000 followers online, I kind of don't want to spend for that being a Marwadi. So I just wanted to know, how do you think should a brand take influencer marketing as for them in this industry? Like really, it's a very big question for me, influencer marketing. Yeah, indeed. I think too, because I have done it and I saw no money coming in. And
Vikram said, how many followers you have on Instagram is not going to give you sales.
I think influencer marketing works for the influencer, not the brand.
oh God. oh God. So we are spending for them.
Yeah, it's a very good business model for them. If someone is listening, they should do it more often.
Indeed, I'm thinking of.
No, I mean, see, as I said that, I mean, if you have a proper financial model, then you would put like how bigger brands work. They have X amount of money allocated for influencer marketing. So you know what work. I mean, you don't know. I mean, if you have a budget allocated for next 6 months, you're putting money in each sector, and then you know that one thing is going up and other things are not working, so they let go of other things. That's how bigger brands function. See, we don't do it, but then a lot of people work that way.
So what happens is the competitors around us, they are doing this kind of marketing, and then you feel like, oh, you're lagging back. Cannes Fashion Week.
See,
Go off.
I'll tell you what, now the brand is your production value of clothes you're shooting. 60% goes there. If you're spending 40,000, someone is spending 40 lakhs, they will have better people, they will have more buyers. As simple as that. Let us not kid ourselves. A person who is walking to the store, sees your product, will definitely buy your product, but that is the window they see. If you have a better shoot quality, and at the end of the day, yeah, they're putting in more money, they deserve better. I would just say at the end of the day. And if you have a brilliant product, I mean, there are a lot of people who will come to your store. Slowly, organically, you will grow. I mean, that's how I have been there. I mean, it's not something, I didn't come with single penny. I mean, honestly, I'm being very candid. Came without any money, saved a little bit from our earlier job, started small with just one or two people. Slowly, one thing led to another. That's how I have kind of, and it's not something I have a plan for 6 months. I'm just figuring out by my month. Still now also.
Yeah, I would like to ask something. Yeah. So I have a brand for nearly 4 years now, and I want to ask you how important is storytelling of a brand? Like storytelling can be very a long vision, a lot of money being put in with like expensive shoots, do your the best locations, take the best villas, do your aesthetic shoots and all. But how important is that for the revenue to come in, like a return on investment for storytelling in the long, as a long goal? Should you focus on storytelling or just do your business metrics?
may, each one of us may have a different viewpoint to it. These views are personally mine. Like if I see a phenomenal shoot, I will think that this brand is way more bigger than other brands. So that's what I feel. And as I said that each one of us can have a USP. As I said that you might be a brilliant storyteller. So you should focus on storytelling. Someone is a brilliant product, they will focus more on their product. And we should all stick to our, I think, the strengths we have. We all have our own strengths. And I feel that's how it is. I personally like storytelling because I feel that I really like a lot of brands because they have a phenomenal storytelling. So that's something which I really like, but it can be a personal.
But how loyal you would be with that brand? Like for example, storytelling will work.
The day I buy that brand and I like it, if I don't like it, that ends there.
But don't you think storytelling, for example, Sabyasachi can sell a story, but brand like Snitch or Zara, they don't believe in storytelling.
But it all depends on what kind of market you're catering to. I mean, we are completely different segments of society you're talking about.
What if I'm in the middle, like a mass premium brand?
No, I mean, see, it depends. Like it's very difficult to generalize and give you an answer for this. But see your product, basically, what kind of product you're doing, and then try to figure out what can work around it, what kind of ad can work around it, and then figure out what kind of budget you have, what can be done, what cannot be done. And then you plan a thing. But I would still say that you would rather not talk than talking something really bad. So if you don't have a good shoot, rather don't put it. Because it will immediately, it's a digital footprint which will make a really bad impression. I would say that you'd still save a little money, maybe shoot one product, but it has to be really good. And people think that, these all are like personal views, what I feel. I think each one of us, I think Vikram might have a different opinion because he's a stalwart. I think he would be knowing way better than me. But this is what I feel, that you shouldn't put a bad story. Don't talk. That's better. If you don't have a good shoot, you just don't like put a crumpled product and shoot a picture just because nobody's going to come and buy it, trust me. We are sitting in a land of sharks. Everyone is putting the best foot forward. So I feel that storytelling is important, but yes, the right storytelling should be there. And it should marry with the audience you want to target to. I mean, coming to influencer marketing, I think we kind of tied up with one influencer at what point of time. What happened was that we didn't realize one thing, that that influencer was not followed by the top end of the society. So people who are following were not buying like 15, 16K outfit, they were buying 1,000. So it is very, very important to know even influencer marketing, which one. She might have 1,000K followers, but is it worthwhile? Is it worthwhile? We don't know what their followers are. So it's also important. If you are putting in money, just understand what kind of followers they have. And it should be through a reference who told you, okay, this person has good followers, then only go ahead and do it. I mean, if you have the appetite to spend so much money, I mean, it all depends. Yeah.
I want to add something to that. Is I think the word. So again, for me is, we are in a world today where, because of, like you rightly said, sometimes the shoot is better than the actual product, which is great. But to answer your question, I think everybody who's the end consumer of fashion, like we buy fashion and stuff, right? The journey ends with the quality of the product. So I would just say, on a side note, pay a lot of detail. So I think the word I'm looking together to tie everything, all my thoughts together, is authenticity. So when we brand story, let it be authentic to you. वो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा बोल के सुन के, you know what, पकड़ में आ जाता है. When you're not, when it's not coming from your heart, it will not run very long, whether it's your product or your brand story. And so that's what I would feel about the brand story. And I feel in the day in age we are in today, there is a lot of fluff marketing. मतलब इतना ही हल्ला मचाया हुआ है marketing में, बढ़िया बढ़िया products है, अच्छी shoot है वगैरह. And when the rubber meets the road, not many products really connect with the consumer. I mean, how many times I've bought a famous designer, and it's a white garment and it has, hot pink trimming, and the trimming leaks. The dry cleaner will not take it. I cannot wash it. Am I buying that brand again? Hell no. So, it be, I think, authenticity. Like, think, how would I like to wear a white garment? Can I dry clean it? Can I wash it? Can I whatever? So again, there's so many stores that have told us pain points कि यार इतने अच्छे कपड़े, इनका जो फिट्स है, शोल्डर हमेशा पीछे भागता है, आर्म होल कभी फिट नहीं होता है, चेस्ट इतनी बड़ी, आर्म होल देखो इतना छोटा. So I'm just saying, on a side note, stay true to your product, stay very authentic, like give a product that, so here's the thing, I think marketing, storytelling, great, great avenues to show up. But once somebody connects with your clothes, they should not be able to go and buy anywhere else. Your shoulder should fit, your armhole should be kick-ass, your trimming should. Why? For the consumer. And I think authenticity is what can really connect. So we've had a very organic journey as well. And I think, I think for us, what's just true we were to our imprint and our authenticity. And every time we try to just stay very, very close to that imprint. So
I had a follow-up question. It was, so you make that first product and you have the kick-ass trimming and everything perfect and everything works. It's come from your heart and it's driven by passion, because the first piece, first collection is who you are. That's your creativity. And then as you walk the road, and 10 years later, and 15 years later, you also realize markets change, and now you have to cater to what the market is buying. And there is a dance that you have to do between your creativity and the practicality of what the market wants. So how do you do that? How do you balance that negotiation? How do you do this?
I think it's for everyone. I think whether you're a creative person or you're even in a job situation, यही रहता है कि सबको अपना ही करना है. और that's why हम इंसान की ज़िंदगी में आए. We've taken birth to express ourselves creatively, and totally valid. And there's always going to be a dance, and I think that's the coming together of the yin and the yang. That's how we look at it. Or what we say yoga, which is yoga. Yoga is union, right? The union of that mindset where you can take what works for the other person. Because here's the thing, I'm making wall art that is probably not wearable, and it's going to pain you and hurt you, I don't know. So, and then you need to put money up front for it. So I'm just thinking, so that's always a dance, and one challenges the other. Sometimes you make something and you're like, oh God, ये कोई पहनेगा, कहाँ पहनेगा, कैसे पहनेगा, and then that challenges come in. So, here's the other thing, in our years, and we've guided a few students, many of them we've actually advised कि आप, you have a lot of talent, why don't you join another label? Because फितरत में ये होता है कि I want to do my own thing, but trust me, whether you're a business owner or you are doing a job with another designer, there are enough opportunities to express yourself creatively. And secondly, more importantly, you're always going to cater to the market. You know, it cannot be an ego driven journey. Yes, on the ramp, definitely put out those crazy avant-garde garments, and you know, that's a marketing exercise. But when you're selling to a consumer, there has to be something that you think for them and make. And you know, or if you're selling in stores, you have to listen to the stores. They want it that way. I've made a dress, but they want to make it with the tunic. Can you put a dupatta on it? My audience only wears this. They will not wear dresses. They'll wear salwar kameez, etc. So वो सब चलता रहता है battle. So just please remember that it's, you will be catering to the market one way or the other. So if you are somebody that, you know, Saugat brilliantly said, you cannot hold out financially and you do not have the bandwidth, please do consider working for you know, some really nice designer, because there's many there are many wonderful opportunities there as well. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Okay.
that works. I want to now just, we'll do a round. I want to hear from everyone. What does "I've made it" sound like to you? What is your definition of "I've made it"? And also, whatever you want to tell everyone here that you wish you had heard when you were younger. Whether your passion was running out, money was running out, you know, whatever it is. What is it that you can tell them? And also,
Okay, so when I read the, you know, when I read it in the car, "You've made it," and I was saying that, oh, they want to know how I made my clothes. Mine's like, no, silly, you made it. I'm like, oh, that feels a little fraudulent, you know. It still feels fraudulent, yeah. Mine was like, who made it?
No, so I'd actually heard all of this. You know, I'd got all this advice from senior designers. Um, I'd heard all about the pain points and what not to do and why not to do a fashion label, and I still went ahead and did it. You know, that's primarily because I wanted to express myself through different mediums, through different canvases, from, you know, painting to acting to whatever, designing clothes to spaces. The idea was to just go ahead and just do it. इतना नहीं सोचने का कि करना है नहीं करने का क्यों करने का, that bharta that we make in our heads, no, that is what messes us up, right?
I totally agree. What was the question again? Okay, yeah, I think you know, the thing is also evolution. Yeah, you know, your own evolution, your product's evolution. I think the goalpost moving is very closely connected to that, where everything is constantly moving. Not in the sense that I'm a dissatisfied person and I want more, but you're evolving. So I think just enjoy the journey, yaar. The process. I mean, the entire life is a process. Just have fun, enjoy. But I do wish that a community like this was available, because you know, again, I think there's a lot of competition within designers and stuff, and I really feel that we've huddled so many times, okay, in exhibitions and stuff. We've gone like, "Tera kaise ja raha hai? Oh ho ho, log nahi aaye." You know, I mean, we've done all of that, right? But I mean, whenever you huddle with a fellow designer or a senior designer, I mean, we've had brilliant advice. I mean, I still remember it was Masaba who said, "Guys, what are you doing with your overstock? Do exhibitions." Just do exhibition. They're like, really? That's a thing to do? That's how naive we were. I mean, Sandeep Khosla told us, open a store in Goa, and thank God for that, you know. So, I mean, Sabyasachi, he told us we were having a lot of difficulty with our Mangalgiri fabric, because a lot of stores were not understanding कि जो slab आता है ना उस weave में, वो उसकी खासियत है, खूबसूरती है. They were saying, oh, it's a defect, and we got rejects. Everything was a reject. So we were so upset. I remember that one time in Fashion Week, and you know, and he told us like, this is how you deal with it. So I'm just saying, when you come together as a community, you really understand. Sometimes you know, I've spoken to stores, other designers, and we've realized that, oh God, the season's really bad. It's not you, because we take it personally. Oh, my product, this line failed. ये हो गया वो. नहीं यार, खराब season है, होता है. You know. So okay. So cheers to this community.
Well, for the first question, if I've made it or not, I mean, if there's any investor, please come in. So, I mean, I don't think that, you know, that is something, it's always a journey. I think there are people who would be better than me. There are people who are, I mean, and it's always a process. Sometimes we will be ahead, I think it's more important to enjoy the journey. And the second question is like, you know, if I had known something, I would have done differently. Well, I think I just remember I was working with a company, which was my first job actually. So th- it's like 1,000 crore company now. So I don't want to name them, but the owner of the company. So I was kind of carrying samples and walking. So he was passing by. So he made me sit in the car, and he told me, तुम्हें पता है, like you know, and there were three brothers. बोले तुम्हें पता है मैंने अपने भाई लोग को नहीं पढ़ाया. बोले क्यों? बोले पढ़ाई लेगा तो रिस्क नहीं ले सकता है. So don't study too much. Just बोल दो अपने आप को, you will figure out. You always do, and just keep doing it. I think road keeps on opening. It's like it's like how you are in the night and you are on a bike and you just see this much you need to see. You don't need to see. Just keep doing the right thing. And I feel कभी कभार उतना सोचो मत. I think ignorance is a bliss.
I've never even thought about a line like I've made it. Sometimes it sounds very not pompous, but I think you get overwhelmed with the fact if you're invited somewhere, if you're given some appreciation, or if I think I've made it as a very it can start your downfall when your mind starts telling you I have made it. I feel that can be the beginning of an end. I also feel if I could turn back the clock, if I had to do it in any other way, I don't think what my experiences have taught me a fashion school could ever have. So I think I'd still relive it just the way those years I spent doing what I did to become a brand or to become whatever little I am today. So I just feel that experiences in my life could be, whenever I go to fashion schools, I never advocate this. But the fact is that everybody over here, everybody, why just the four of us, everybody over, including the people who ask the question, who have their individual brands, their journeys are different. And given the the circumstances that each one is coming from is also different. There are so many people who are nouveau rich, whose parents have money in abundance, who can let their kids dream. Those kids without talent, anything, I'm not even getting into that, have the ability to start something because they already have the backing of something. While there are other people who are not even daring to dream. So I feel you have to dare to dream. The world and the universe comes together to make you have to be there. Like even she appropriately said, the hustle has to be on. Till today, she knows about it. Mohini knows about it. I stand with her at exhibitions. I don't do any exhibition where I'm not there physically. Till today. But the fact remains that everybody who comes over there and says, you're here, we didn't expect you. They've already built an image in their mind that chalo, he will not be there. But I don't take up exhibitions where I cannot meet somebody who I want to dress, I want to style. I only take up those where I can physically go. And that is a thrill, even now. It's a thrill because you get to meet them. They tell you what they like. They tell you what they don't like. There are complaints. There is happiness. There is a joy that I get because that's where I began. So I continue to do it even today because standing at a stall with 8 racks and selling your clothes is another thrill altogether. In people's eyes, it could be anything. I have to define what makes me happy and what is my brand all about. It's about an interaction with your consumers directly. So I've seen, there are many exhibitions we've done together. And the fact is that, like you said, if I stand at that stall and it's in my head, I've made it, it's done. I'm doomed.
Can I just say something about him?
Yes.
He is present and he attends to everybody. It's not that, oh, I'm Vikram, I'm sitting, and the rest, no. He attends to every client who walks into the store. He's so amazing.
I think one small thing I would like to add, I read up on what Sabyasachi said that as a designer, you're only as good as your last collection. Always remember that. If a collection fails, you're not a good designer anymore. So that should, directly say that you have never made it. Trust me, every day when you're making collection, if you make a good collection, you can say that, okay, this is a good collection. But it's always a process. Yeah.
I want to add to that. And that's actually a better life than an actor's because when you are the product and your last whatever film show tanked, then that has failed. Okay, so it's a little more forgiving, really. I mean, on this side, yes, we've had some very crazy struggles. You know, when we were acting, we were like, oh my God, what did we do? You know, whatever. We've had those doubts, but quite honestly, when it's a product, it's slightly easier because it's the same is true for an actor, right? If you're as good as your last film, unfortunately.
Shraddha, we're going to quickly wrap up, but I want to hear that funny story right now. I didn't hear it, the exhibition story.
Okay, listen. Okay, there's a. Okay, we do a. So this is just light-hearted fun, guys. Just is not to piss anyone off. If you get pissed off, that's fine. But yeah, just so you know, in exhibitions, this happens to us very often. Can we have the other mic? So you'll resonate, no? एक mic और हाँ yeah. So नहीं एक और mic. Mayank, will you be the? So I'll be the. Can you give my bag? So I'll be the ladies who go to the exhibition. Please have a diamond bigger than my face. And then they ask for discounts. Please don't do that. We actually heard this. There was a designer next to us who brilliantly said, she's saying, Auntie, आप discount मांग रहे हैं, आप अपना एक solitaire गिर जाएगा, आप मेरा पूरा धंधा खरीद सकते हो. And I thought that was so honest, So she started laughing, that lady. I thought such a beautiful way to diffuse the situation. But yes, okay. So this has happened to us, okay. So I'm the lady, and I'm like going. Designer bhaiya, he's been called that.
Called designer bhaiya.
Back in the day, yeah, when nobody knew.
Designer bhaiya, beta.
Yeah, beta's fine, but designer bhaiya.
Beta?
Designer bhaiya, is this a dress? So first she'll like see in the mirror 100 times. Is this a dress or a tunic?
Auntie, it's a dress. You know this one?
Okay, it's a dress.
It's a dress.
Oh, beta, I only wear tunics. No, see, I have to wear pants. No, wait. So wait.
Coming to
so
that.
okay, so next. Beta, is this a dress or a tunic?
It's a tunic, auntie.
Oh, see, I always wear tunics, so this time I really wanted to wear something different, like a dress. Beta, is this a dress or a tunic?
आंटी नीचे पैंट और डाल दोगे तो ट्यूनिक हो जाएगा, अदरवाइज इट्स अ ड्रेस.
Oh, I'll think about it. Beta, is this a dress or a tunic?
आंटी शूट मी.
Just having fun. We love you guys. Please come into exhibitions, the audience especially, whatever next exhibition, any of them do, you please come. And yeah, we love you.
Black taxi.
Come to Black Taxi, shop a lot.
Thank you so much, guys. I've had a lot of fun. I'm guessing you guys did too. I quickly just want to say we also have a non-working mic, and in the audience, we have Bhumi Dave from Pearl Academy. She's a senior faculty, and I'm so glad she could be a part of it. We also have Girish, who's the head of placement. They've been very instrumental in helping us get students to attend. And she's been a fabulous support all along this journey. Thank you so much, Bhumi.
Designers. I probably think I can represent the students in spite of the gap, because I have so many students today who are designers with brands, and I can see them. I have Sneha of Puchki, I have Charmi of Terra Tribe, and these have been my students, and now they are brand owners and they regularly showcase at Black Taxi. And at the same time, I have students who have just graduated, I think just last week. So the gap that both of them have is what we in academics are trying to bridge. So as he's been from NIFT, I'm from NIFT, and there are these students from NIFT. We never had this collaboration with brands while we were students. So while we were students, you study because that's your job. But today, everything has changed. They'll go to Instagram. On the weekends, they'll be doing some side hustle with the designers and then come in the jury and said, we did all this with this designer to get extra points and brownie points. So a lot of things are changing, and we are in the doldrums where we are in academics and we are all still in the same field. So the students also want to know that how, I mean, of course, they approach the designers at Lakme Fashion Week and they run behind them and they find them on their Instagram. But the students also need that intervention. So in academics, we have come up with modules that are integrated with the designer coming to the campus and giving them their brief. And we as faculty actually hand-holding them, telling them that this is what you do in an internship. So when you go there, you're not like, this babe in the wood who doesn't know what the hell is happening. And they're like, oh, but you told us this, and now in the industry it is this. That is not going to be happening anymore. So we would really, really appreciate, the connect of all the designers and, be a part of our live industry projects so that the students are still studying, they are still students, but they have the real world scenario in front of them. No longer are things going to be completely different by the time they graduate. No longer are they, because these are the same students who are getting opportunities on Lakme Fashion Week. Before they've even graduated, they have 2 more years to finish, but they are showcasing at Lakme Fashion Week. So, they are in a completely different space and they have the bandwidth to go to New York Fashion Week and they have the, connectivity to go to Milan Fashion Week. So that's where the students stand today. So I think that the intervention of the designers and the students would be a great place. So I would love to have everyone on board where we can actually have you all on the campus talking to the students and telling them real life stories just the way you have today. Thank you so much.
Is Chami over here from Candid? Yes. Where is she? She is an exceptional designer.
I agree.
And I found her in Goa. She was with my friends. This thing. I have never seen such immaculate finishing of clothes. And I've told her this a million times. I've asked her to. I have a store in Goa which I only house all budding designers, whether it's accessories, clothing. She was with a friend of mine, and her product is a 10 on 10.
Wow. I think I gave her 100 for her beauty because she was so mentee. But even when she came to speak to the students actually understood. When she said that she converted 1 ton of waste into her next collection.
Yeah, she's a lovely waste Her product is something else. It's on an internet. I just met her in Amritsar also for an exhibition.
Yes.
She has quality product and great pricing, and I know she has a great fan following in many cities in India.
Where, can I see? I can't see you.
There, that's done.
I can't. No, I'm sorry.
I think she met at a couple of events. I think so. Yeah.
Exceptional.
I have something. Hi.
So happy to. I'm not very familiar with the work, but I'm going to totally check it out. We are going to go actually.
Very international, very.
God
She
bless.
has her own world. She's not trying to ape someone, and that's what it is. That's nice.
Wow, that's brilliant. I think that's absolutely right. Like I think after everything we've said, we've just shared our experiences, our stories. I think just always remember that paths are made by walking. जहाँ पर बहुत सालों पहले एक पगडंडी होगी या मे बी इवन पगडंडी नहीं होगी must be like all forest. One man walked there and then a few more and then it became a dirt path and then today there's like a expressway there today, right? So paths are made by walking. Do remember that. I have something to share with you. Can I take 2 more minutes? So talking about college students and all, and it's beautiful. I mean, the energy and the all this fresh designers coming out. I just have a few things that I wish colleges could also. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is my suggestion. Is क्या होता है ना? We've had a lot of people, not from your college, but I'm just saying generally. A lot of them don't. I mean, I think they need to understand what happens when the rubber meets the road. I remember this one fashion week. We asked a particular intern to say कि ये जूते को spray paint करना है because going on the ramp and he wanted a texture on it and all, and she's like, I have not come here to paint your shoes, and we were like, dude, Mayank is sitting right there with a juta in his hand and he's like, what? So I'm just saying, sometimes they, like you said, rightly said, the babe in the woods. I mean, that is, that interface really needs to, they need to be prepared. Everybody does everything. I mean, the more senior the designer, the more they've done tying shoelaces for every model. You gotta do that, And the other thing is, most of the times we are unable to integrate anyone because they have, I want to intern for 2 months or 3 months, and our experience shows the kind of effort it takes for our entire team to integrate somebody in our system, even for them to learn a little bit or for them to contribute something. 3 मंथ्स में तो उनको समझ में आता है कि अच्छा आप ये हो, यहाँ ऐसे काम होता है, अच्छा जी, वो अच्छा जी में 3 महीने निकल जाते हैं. So it's a giant waste of time and energy for them and even for us and our entire team, like 6 people running behind, you know. So I don't think that's fair. Like I think it should be a minimum 6 months. Then it will really add value both ways. And
That's why we have integrated it and actually
that's good.
made programs inside the curriculum where we are there to check
Fantastic.
everything.
That's
So
good
they
to know.
don't have to, like those 3 months are for that.
Wonderful.
And without designers, we can't do it.
We do at my label, I'm not sure about theirs. At my label, we do only 6-month internships, which are paid internships. And yeah, we do 6-month paid internships. Nothing is, we don't expect any free work by anybody. They're paid internships, after which I only keep girls. Last 35 years, whatever. I have a full girls office, except for in the creative section. And we go to colleges and we do interviews with the people, or we ask the HODs to send their, their recommendations, and we do interviews. And then we release the girls who are not able to cope up in 6 months, because if you can't cope up in 6 months, you'll never be able to cope up. That's also a little stretched timeline, but we still do only 6 months. There are so many people who come and they say, can we do it for 2 and 3 and 4? But that's not the same, because by the time, like she said, by the time you learn and you can become an independent assistant, not a designer. There's a huge difference. An independent assistant, you need that time. You need to understand the ethos, you need to understand what that company, what that brand is all about. You need to get into these things, because everybody's brain is rushing faster than they want to start a brand in the internships. So it's very important. Fortunately, I've had a great set of run of assistants, 4 of which are here today. I've had a great run of assistants, and then they venture out into whatever they want to do. But even in the interview, the first question I ask them is, are you doing an internship and then plan to get married and make rotis at home? Or this is the most of the families say, "Ho gaya na abhi, chalo abhi shadi kar lo." Ho gaya na, you did your 6 months. They are not allowed to dream. And I am talking about an experience of more than, at least, I must have graduated at least more than 250 girls from the brand over these years. More than 250. At any given point of time, we have about 15 of them. So you can imagine over the years how many. It's many a times the families don't let them do what they set out to do. Why admit them into a fashion college? If that's not what, they just want to get them married or enter a family business. And there are such bright, vibrant girls who have so much to give, who I've had the last 2-3 years, who just disappeared, and then we don't even know what they do now. And they were great. So the thing is that even they have to have that, and I do this more for girls because I understand that men still, they are the bread earners of the family, and nobody will. But with women, sometimes it's like the actresses, it's very short-lived, because eventually you have to depend on whether your husband is going to allow you or not. And I know so many the husbands who've supported. So it's also not what we can give, it's also what you get.
And I was actually at one, I think CMI or something where I went. So this person said a very valid point. It's very difficult to get through NIFT. And imagine passing out and you've wasted that seat by sitting.
It's terrible.
It's horrible. You have actually crushed someone's dreams who wanted to get into that college. His life would have taken a kickstart. And it couldn't take. So it's like you've taken someone's life away also.
My managers are here. There are times when they conduct interviews. I can see while they're doing the interviews, they are not happy with the girl's presentation of the sketches. But she comes up to me and says, she has the potential. And I said, take her. Because everything is, you may be less in one skill, but the college doesn't guide you and tell you that she's not good at this, but she's also good at this. But my managers tap and say, let's keep her because she looks promising, she's good at this. She may not be good at this. And we keep them in spite, because we want to tap what their strengths are. But even the college has to be as involved as an expectation from what the designer has to give, because it's a give and take. And that is why we personally do it with all the HODs. It's amazing I've not met you.
I used to talk to you for an interview in 1999.
And?
At your Bandra place on the first floor.
Yeah, and
nothing happened. I was not taken. She's starstruck.
No.
Starstruck by the clothes, everything like, because I think there were gaddas and everything was spread on the gaddas, and I'm like, all this.
1999.
1999. Yes.
So that is one of the things that we want to do through Black Taxi Commune is to
Yeah.
start to bridge the gap of what the students expect and what the designers expect and start to build that interface. So that is one of the things that we definitely want to do. So I will
Yeah,
connect
so
with you.
even, for example, her, I sent her a student earlier and we know what all we went through, and because we know each other, she could tell me. So then the second student I sent to her was a completely different, requirement, and, I had to sort of curate the students who were fit for the designer. So then it has come on to us, so we have taken up the responsibility now.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, because I realize that the students are going out there and they're all wrong for the designers.
Yeah.
And they are going, oh, I got opportunity, Gulabo, I need that on my CV. I'm like, do you want to do that in life? No. But I just want it on my CV. It looks like, oh, I did Abujani Sandeep Chosla. So it will look very good. I said, for what? Will it look good for getting a next job? Will it look good for getting married? What will it look good for? No answers. So only because I could sit with these designers, I could sit with Sneha, I could sit with her, we figured it out, and now we have a format which we can apply. So when you said that there could be an incubation program, I told my students that these are the kind of opportunities. Because they're like, oh, design ma'am or black taxi, Balade said, no, ma'am, we don't want to go. So I'm like, what is happening? Your internships are starting. Ma'am, till 1st July we need holiday. I said, why? Because we gave exams. Yes, right?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, we need time to recuperate. I'm like, okay, 1 week is okay. Ma'am, no. 1st July will start. I'm like, no, the designers want you now. They have events, they want you now.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, I will not.
There
do
you
this.
have
I
your,
do
you
something
got your
else.
answers.
So I think
We're all in it
we need to,
together.
we need to work together to
Yes.
kind of do that. We will. I have to say we're at the Kin and they have really good food. So we'll wrap it up for now. We have 30 minutes. We'll to talk to each other. There's brand owners, there's students, there's our guests. So we can all talk to each other, free flowing, and please don't miss out on the food. So that's. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, audience. You guys are amazing. Really.